After Elizabeth's death in 1603, England was led by King James I. He was King of England, Scotland, and Ireland simultaneously, although the countries were recognized as separated. In 1604, he made peace with Spain, which allowed England in the future to cross Atlantic Ocean and establish its own colonies. The first English colony was established in 1584 on Roanoke Island by Sir Walter Raleigh, named Virginia, primarily as a pirate base for attacks on Spanish gold fleet. The next settlement was founded in 1607 at the same location, called Jamestown, in the name of King James. In England, as well as in the rest of Europe, religious controversies did not die down, which led to social tensions. Some Protestants, called Puritans, were dissatisfied with the Church of England, and religious persecution was common. They dreamed of creating a new world, a city on a hill, a church without hierarchy and corruption. In 1620, a ship of the Mayflower entered Massachusetts Bay, and 102 Puritans established their settlement of Plymouth. The New World beckoned the poor, landless people for whom there was no land left in England, as well as those persecuted for their religion. The economic base of the English colonies was tobacco and sugar cane. They also produced rum, grain, timber, fish, furs and skins, whaling products, iron. The planters quickly faced a shortage of labor, as the newly arrived Europeans did not want to work for hire, but to own their own land. Thus, around the middle of the 17th century, the English began importing slaves. Merchants brought weapons and jewelry from Europe to Africa, bought slaves, transported them in harsh conditions on large ships to the colonies, where they sold them to local colonists. In those days, having access to Asia was of great economic importance. Indian Chinese goods were in great demand in Europe. Tea, dyes, spices, fabrics, silk, porcelain were worth a lot of money, and whoever had direct access to these goods could get rich. English merchants faced serious opposition from the Portuguese, who came here almost a century earlier than other Europeans, and especially the Dutch East India Company. Founded in 1600 under Elizabeth III, the Governor and Company of Merchants of London, trading with the East Indies, or simply the East India Company, dealt with trading in Asia. A royal decree gave the company a monopoly of trade in India. The company originally had 125 shareholders and a capital of £72,000. In 1612, the company opened the first trading post in India in Surat. In 1640, a second factory in Madras. By 1647, the company had 23 trading posts in India. In 1690, a company settlement was established in Calcutta. From the end of the 16th century, the Kingdom of England experienced a strong industrial boom. New manufactories and industries sprouted like mushrooms across the country, producing a wide variety of products. English entrepreneurs needed new laws that would give more freedom for production and trade. However, the whole country was still living under the old feudal laws. The nobility did not want any changes, and the king, Charles III, kept coming up with new duties and taxes. To the economic ones, there were religious controversies, as well as the mass of landless and impoverished peasants, which led to the Civil War. As a result, King Charles I and his army were defeated, and in 1649, the king was sentenced to death. Oliver Cromwell became a Lord Protector, and England began to move from a feudal to a capitalist society. On the 1st of May 1707, as a result of the Act of Union, the two kingdoms of England and Scotland merged into the Kingdom of Great Britain. In 1702, England entered the War of the Spanish Succession against France and Spain. Fighting also took place in the Americas between the English and French colonies. After more than 10 years of fighting, the Treaty of Utrecht was signed. As a result, the United Kingdom received French colonies, Rupert Land, Newfoundland and Acadia, and Gibraltar from Spain. Meanwhile, the war had depleted Netherlands considerably, which could no longer compete with England in maritime trade. Spain lost much of her power, become a minor power in matters of continental policy. In 1756, the 7 Years' War began, a major military conflict of the 18th century, one of the largest conflicts of modern times, taking place in Europe and abroad, in North America, the Caribbean, India, and the Philippines. The Anglo-French colonial rivalry in North America led to border skirmishes between the English and French colonists. In 1756, Britain officially declared war on France. The war ended with the complete exhaustion of the warring parties with the victory of the Anglo-Prussian coalition in 1763. Britain gained Canada, East Louisiana, Florida, some of the Caribbean Sea islands, and most of French colonies in India. France lost almost all of its colonial possessions, and Britain became the dominant colonial power. But the price what Britain paid for its Atlantic dominance will be enormous.